The anime begins with a group of heroes called the Saviors fighting a dangerous and strong dragon. One of the Saviors, Moroha Mimura, stands apart to cast a powerful spell. The rest of the Saviors keep distracting the dragon to enable Moroha to finish his spell. After he is done with the spell, Moroha attacks the dragon, and this causes devastating damage that levels the whole area. To bring up to speed about how the events came to be, we need to go back to half a year ago. The newly admitted students are being welcomed into the academy by the principal, Shimon Mary. She beseeches the students to work hard and become saviors that will help in fighting metaphysicals. The students have inherited the memories of their previous lives. During the principal's address, Moroha remembers some events from his past life and sleeps off. In the process, he is awakened when a girl, Satsuki, headbutts him and calls him lazy for sleeping. Just then, Moroha sees an image of his past life around Satsuki, and he calls her Sarisha. Satsuki also gets flashes, and she calls Moroha the name Flaga. It turns out that the duo were brother and sister in their previous lives. Satsuki jumps and hugs Moroha, but Moroha says he doesn't remember anything about Satsuki being his sister. He claims the name just popped out of his mouth. Looking to their side, the duo sees another girl, Shizuno Hirashibara, lying on the floor. Shizuno wakes up and pecks Moroha on the lips. Satsuki gets mad that a random girl could kiss Moroha when he doesn't even remember his own sister. Later that day, the students are to report to the Coliseum for training. The Coliseum is a disjointed space, and any injury sustained will be cured once you leave the arena. Their teacher explains to them that there are two types of saviors: the White Knights, who use light skills, and the Dark Mages, who use dark arts. The teacher shows them how to summon their plana, which is the source of all light skills. He tells the students that they have memories from their past lives, and this will intuitively help them to bring out their plana. Satsuki tries it and brings out her plana, while Moroha couldn't even charge up his own. Moments later, Satsuki hears one of the students, Izurugi, praying that a metaphysical attacks them so he can get the chance to fight. Satsuki cautions him and says he shouldn't wish for such. This gets Izurugi angry, and he challenges Satsuki to a duel. Satsuki charges her dog tag with plana, and it transforms into a sword that she used in her previous life. Izurugi does this also and gets his own weapon. The two go against each other, but Izurugi turns out to be stronger than Satsuki. He beats her up and also embarrasses her in front of everyone. Satsuki leaves the arena out of shame, but Moroha follows her. Moroha and Satsuki go to a restaurant together. Satsuki reveals that she was lonely in her village and decided to join the school for the saviors. She had hoped to meet her brother, and it turned out to be just as she planned. She says saving the world is secondary to her, but being around Moroha is all she wants. Just then, Shizuno shows up at the scene, and Satsuki gets jealous. She says she is frustrated that Shizuno is not giving her time with her brother. She runs out of the restaurant shouting, but Moroha thanks Shizuno for lifting Satsuki's spirits. Later on, Moroha calls Izurugi and tells him to apologize to Satsuki. Izurugi refuses, and the duo decides to settle it with a duel. Izurugi beats Moroha around the arena without using all of his strength. After taking several rounds of beating from Izurugi, Satsuki says some words that she usually says to Moroha in their previous life. With these words, Moroha remembers that Satsuki is his sister, and this gives him a new boost of strength. Moroha charges up his dog tag. It transforms into a sword. He easily defeats Izurugi, but passes out afterward. The principal, who has been watching from the stands, recognizes Moroha's power, and she calls him the Ancient Dragon. Moroha wakes up in the hospital and sees a girl, Maya, pecking him on the lips. He looks around and sees Shimon standing beside him. Shimon says Maya just gave Moroha some mana through the kiss. She explains to Moroha that someone like him is called the Ancient Hero because he possesses the power of the Ancient Dragon. Shimon says saviors only have a previous life, but the Ancient Hero has two previous lives. Moroha complains that he just remembered his past life, and now there is a possibility that there's another one too. Shimon says Moroha used a level 3 dark art when he fought Izurugi. Later on, Satsuki exchanges contact info with Moroha and Shizuno. While they're doing so, a man comes in to call Moroha and Shizuno. The man informs Moroha that he has been upgraded to the C rank for defeating Izurugi. It turns out the man is Izurugi's big brother, the principal who recommended Moroha for the promotion. Izurugi's brother tells Moroha that as a C rank, he is guaranteed employment at the White Knight Agency once he graduates. He will also receive payments and scholarships. However, there is a catch. Moroha will have to join a combat team of anti-metaphysical fighters called the Strikers. He will serve once or twice in a month, but there have been casualties in the past. Moroha couldn't resist the pay and immediately accepts the offer. Izurugi's brother tells Shizuno that she will be in the reserves. Satsuki hears the conversation and requests to join too, but Izurugi's brother humbly declines her request because she hasn't proven herself. Shortly afterward, Moroha and Shizuno report to the Strikers building for training. Shizuno tells Moroha that most of the Strikers, including Izurugi, are B ranks. After the day's training, Moroha and Shizuno find Satsuki waiting for them. Satsuki invites Moroha to have a plate of delicacy with her, but Shizuno cuts in and says they are both tired from training. Shizuno adds salt to Satsuki's wounds by saying they will no longer have time to hang out again because they will always leave training very late. Satsuki hears this and runs away looking sad. Moroha scolds Shizuno for saying such harsh words to Satsuki. He runs after Satsuki and comforts her. Moroha says they should go out for a meal, and this makes Satsuki happy. Next, Satsuki invites Shizuno to the mall. She wants Shizuno to help her pick out a present for Moroha to congratulate him on his promotion to C rank. After going through all the sections, the duo doesn't see a particular gift that is suitable to buy for Moroha. Just then, a metaphysical emerges from the river. Satsuki transforms in her fighting mode and begins to fight the monster. Shizuno contacts the school to send help and evacuate civilians. Satsuki and Shizuno keep fighting the monster, but they soon realize that it is more powerful than they think. The monster attacks Satsuki with a stone curse, but Shizuno jumps in and gets it. She tells Satsuki to use her plana to delay the curse from eating her up. Back at the Strikers building, Izurugi tells Moroha that they can't send help because it would take over 100 saviors alone to take down the monster. Izurugi's brother says this is the first time they have seen a 9-headed monster. Moroha disagrees with him and decides to save Shizuno and Satsuki on his own. Moroha arrives at the scene when the monster is about to devour the girls. The monster's power is too strong for Moroha, but Shizuno encourages and tells him that he has another power. Just then, Moroha uses a powerful spell that is classified as level 5 dark arts to defeat the monster. After the monster is defeated, the stone curse on Shizuno gets lifted. The principal also gets to the scene and says she is right about Moroha for his courage against the monster. Satsuki is also added to the Strikers' reserves. Moroha turns to Shizuno and asks her what they were in their past lives, but she says it's not yet time for him to know. We see Shizuno having a conversation with her brother about how powerful Moroha is. Shizuno tells her brother that she's nothing but a friend to Moroha, but her brother puts on a smirk. Later on, Shizuno, Satsuki, and Moroha are seen having a drink when a man walks into the cafe. The man orders a very complicated drink, and Satsuki tells him that they don't serve it in the cafe. Satsuki tells the waiter to bring a particular tea for the man, and when he takes it, he doesn't like it. Suddenly, Moroha realizes that everything slows down in time. He looks to his side and sees the man trying to punch him, but Moroha refuses to flinch. The man asks why Moroha didn't move, and he says the man could have killed him if he wanted to. After the man's departure, Shizuno tells Moroha and Satsuki that the man is one of the 6 heads. The 6 heads are the S ranks, and there are only 6 of them in the world. Shizuno reveals that the name of the man is Sir Edward Lampard, and he came from Britain to check out Moroha. In addition, all other countries are also developing an interest in Moroha. Satsuki gets excited that Moroha might become an S rank in no time, but Shizuno tells her that S ranks usually have no time. They don't have freedom and need to get permission from the government before going anywhere. This is because S ranks are the ultimate weapon. They're also forced to fight monsters that even A ranks can't defeat. Satsuki immediately gets sad that if Moroha achieves S rank, their time together will be limited. Later on, Moroha and his friends run into Maya. She then reveals that the principal is her sister. Moroha also finds out that Shizuno's brother is the board chairman of the school. The new students report to the Coliseum for training against the second-year students. One of the second-year students challenges Moroha to a duel. He uses a level 2 dark art spell to attack Moroha, but Moroha repels the attack with his anti-magic. Moroha then attacks the challenger with a spell that makes him beg for forgiveness. Later on, Moroha sees Maya in the principal's office, and she tells him that Shizuno's brother is using her for his own selfish reasons. He has been training Shizuno to be a dark mage, and he is also the one who recommended her for the Strikers. Maya then says Shizuno has been happy since she met Moroha. Next, Moroha is sleeping outside the school when Shizuno comes over to lie on his chest. This helps Moroha to remember his other past life. He and Shizuno were lovers, and Moroha was a powerful mage too. Meanwhile, Shizuno's brother, Tadanori, is trying to pressure Edward into agreeing that Moroha defeated the nine-headed metaphysical on his own. Edward says he will only give a report when he sees how strong Moroha is. Later that day, Moroha visits the Urushibura estate for a night out with Tadanori. Shizuno shows up in beautiful clothes, and Moroha compliments her. During their meal, Tadanori tells Moroha that he can become an S rank if he agrees to tell the authorities that he defeated the metaphysical all alone. Shizuno tries to protest the decision, but Tadanori tells her that it is a family decision. After their meal, Shizuno and Moroha have a discussion about how selfish her family is. Shizuno rests on Moroha's body and feels comfortable with him. On his way back home, Moroha realizes that the car is being followed. He tells the driver to drop him off and return to the Urushibura estate. Moroha walks through the street and tells the unknown person to reveal himself. The man comes out wearing a helmet. He attacks Moroha, but Moroha repels his attacks easily. During their fight, Moroha realizes that he is fighting a woman. The woman then tells Moroha that she is there to prove to the person she is working for that Moroha is not worth his time. Moroha uses a powerful spell to attack the masked woman, and she quickly runs away after getting defeated by Moroha. Edward calls Tadanori and informs him that he sent his assistant, Angela, to size up Moroha. Edward says he is disappointed and cannot nominate Moroha for S rank. It turns out that it was Edward's assistant who fought Moroha that night. Next, Moroha arrives home to find Maya in his room. Maya says the principal has instructed her to be Moroha's roommate starting that day. Meanwhile, Tadanori has informed Shizuno that she will be going to Great Britain to complete her studies. He says the HQ in Britain doesn't have enough dark mages, and Shizuno will be useful to them. She tries to protest, but Tadanori tells her that it has been decided by the family. The next day, Satsuki informs Shizuno that Maya is now Moroha's roommate, but she doesn't concentrate because she is sad. Shizuno refuses to tell Moroha about the new development. Throughout the day, the group has fun, but Shizuno is sad because she misses Moroha already. After the day's activities, Shizuno sits down in the bathroom and cries her eyes out. Next, Satsuki goes to ask for permission to also be Moroha's roommate, but the principal declines. The group soon realizes that Shizuno is not present in school. Just then, Maya comes to tell Satsuki and Moroha about Shizuno's study plans. At the Urushibura estate, Tadanori, Shizuno, and Edward are having a meeting when Tadanori gets the message that Principal Shimon is on the phone and would like to speak with Shizuno. Shizuno picks up the call and realizes that Moroha is the caller. Moroha asks her why she is not in school, and Shizuno lies that she has come down with a cold. Moroha knows she is lying and tells her to stop listening to everything her brother says. Shizuno then reveals that she is bound to the Urushibura family. This vexes Moroha, but Shizuno tells him not to worry about her and hangs up with tears in her eyes. Moments later, Moroha barges into the house and tells Edward that he defeated the metaphysical by himself. Shizuno tells him not to throw away his freedom because of her, but Moroha says he is ready to do anything for her. He asks Shizuno to follow him, and she agrees. Moroha then carries Shizuno out of the building and meets up with Satsuki and Maya, who are waiting in the car. The group drives out of the compound, but Tadanori uses his executive authority to send Edward after the group. He tells Edward to retrieve his sister and bring her back. The group is stopped on the highway by Edward and his assistant. Edward says Moroha might have claimed to kill the metaphysical on his own, but there is no physical evidence to support it. He says Shizuno will have to go with them because of that. Moroha then asks if Shizuno will be left alone if he defeats Edward. Edward immediately accepts the challenge. Moroha and Edward move to a side in the forest to fight their duel, while Edward's assistant is left to fight Shizuno and Satsuki. Edward repels all of Moroha's attacks and starts toying with him. Just then, Maya creates a disjointed space like the Colosseum around the fighting area. This gives Moroha the opportunity to give his best. Moroha goes hard against Edward and breaks his sword. He is about to defeat Edward, but Edward brings out his second dog tag and transforms into a knight. The battle gets more heated, and Moroha thinks of a way to defeat Edward. He then remembers some events from his past life. It is revealed that Shizuno was his wife. Moroha finds a sense of strength and starts to cast a spell that is of level 8 dark arts. Edward's assistant is surprised to see Moroha using such a powerful spell. After the spell is completed, Moroha uses it to freeze everything inside the disjointed space, including Edward. Later that night, Moroha tells his friends that it didn't defeat Edward, but just used the spell to freeze him over. However, this also counts as a defeat. Moments later, Edward shows up to tell Moroha that he is now willing to nominate him for S rank. He has also withdrawn Shizuno's school transfer. Edward asks why Moroha didn't dodge his punch in the cafe. Moroha says he knew that Edward was not aiming to kill him. Nearly a month later, after defeating Edward, Akane Academy is on summer break. Izurugi's brother, who is also the captain of the Strikers troop, informs the troops that they will be going to summer camp on an island. He tells the group to get their things ready. Meanwhile, the vice-captain of the troops, Kinzaki, is now engrossed with Moroha. While Moroha is out shopping for his things, he runs into one of the troop members, Momo. Moroha compliments her beauty, and this makes her blush. All the girls already have one plan or another to make Moroha theirs. Tadanori also wants Shizuno to be with Moroha, and he gets her tons of swimsuits that will make her look beautiful. The principal uses a transportal spell to move the students to the island. The students get there and start having fun. Maya is also with them. Most of the girls surround Moroha and want special time with him, but Kanzaki's approach is always different and a little bit aggressive. However, the captain is always there to stop her from getting her way with Moroha. The captain informs the group that this year's training camp will be based on individual challenges. They must complete the challenge they choose before the last day of camp. Trying to make Moroha notice her more than Momo, Satsuki immediately decides that her challenge is to be faster than Momo. Momo reluctantly accepts the challenge and destroys Satsuki in every single race. Satsuki says she's not ready to give up and would train until she defeats Momo. Soon afterward, Moroha receives a call from Edward, who tells him that the Lightning Empress of Russia, who is among the 6 heads, is against Moroha's nomination for S rank. The Lightning Empress is against the nomination because Moroha used a spell that only he could perform before. Later on, it is revealed that the principal intentionally made Maya follow the team so she could give reports about everything going on at the training camp. Next, Satsuki begs Moroha to train her so she can be faster than Momo. Moroha then tells Satsuki that Momo's main ability is speed, and Satsuki defeating her will make Momo look down on herself. Moroha says Satsuki has other great abilities and should use them well. He adds that he's trying to make sure people do not know how strong Satsuki is, so she won't be called to battle. However, Satsuki says she wants to be Moroha's partner instead of Momo. Moroha then agrees to train her every day until she is fast enough. Meanwhile, Shimon receives reports that her strikers will soon be summoned. The following day, Kami mocks Moroha about having his S-rank nomination rejected, but Kanzaki comes to Moroha's rescue and gives Kami a share of his own mockery. Kanzaki wants to make out with Moroha, but the captain intervenes again. Moroha and Satsuki start training for her speed. Satsuki tries to run on water, but can't go more than a few meters. Shortly afterward, Satsuki says she feels something is lurking in the water, but Moroha shrugs it off and says it might just be a breeze. 2 days before the end of summer camp, Moroha runs into Shizuno while she is alone at the beach. The duo gets comfortable with each other and decides to spend some time alone. Later on, an unknown force capsizes a boat in the middle of the ocean, and it's headed straight for the island where the troops are camping. The 6 heads sit down for a meeting to determine if Moroha is fit to be an S rank. The group opts to vote. They ask for evidence that he defeated a 9-headed metaphysical, but the Japanese head, Ando, says Moroha defeated the monster within minutes, and there was no time to get a recording of it. Russia's head votes against promoting Moroha to S rank. Suddenly, Ando feels something weird. They soon get an alert that a metaphysical is on the loose. It's so powerful that they had to put it above the Dreadnought class. The heads put the metaphysical under the Fortress class. The troopers on the island soon receive a report of the incoming metaphysical. The metaphysical will go through the island before reaching one of the main cities. The strikers are told to retreat and leave the island alongside the inhabitants. Back at the meeting, Ando is preparing to go back to Japan and face off with the metaphysical, but the Russian head puts a spell on him that will make him sleep. She wants to see if Moroha is up to the S-rank standard or not. Now on the island, Moroha, Maya, Satsuki, and Shizuno have decided to stay behind and fight the monster. Just then, the captain, Jin Izurugi, joins them. The rest of the troop also comes back and says they are ready to fight the metaphysical. The captain says the metaphysical is attracted to sound, and they will need to direct it to the harbor with sound. Once it reaches the harbor, they will split into 2 teams and attack it from both sides. Jean will make sure to keep the monster busy, while Moroha will be in front and prevent it from going past the island. Momo will be in charge of relaying information between the teams. The monster arrives, and the troop realizes that it's so big. They use sirens to direct it to the spot they want and begin their attack. Kanzaki shows her real strength and casts a spell that cuts off one of the legs of the monster. The monster then releases a swarm of giant bugs from its body. The swarm of bugs starts to attack the troop, but they fight back brilliantly. Moroha activates his power and cuts off one of the monster's claws. Kanzaki keeps attacking the monster with her spell because she is angry that the monster has disrupted her plans to make out with Moroha. Jean cuts off the other leg, and Momo runs over to give him an update about things. Jean says all that is left is for Moroha to cut off its head. Suddenly, the metaphysical brain shows its hidden strength. The troop realizes that the monster is multi-headed. Jean immediately tells Momo to inform 10 troops to retreat. The monster releases a sonic pulse from its body that knocks out most of the fighters. After making sure the fighters are weak, the metaphysical directs its bugs to attack them. Just then, Satsuki remembers Moroha's words and finds new strength to fight. She activates her plana and starts taking down the bugs. The monster turns its attention towards Satsuki, and Moroha realizes that he needs to defeat the monster before it faces Satsuki. Moroha starts making incisions around the monster until he creates a spell symbol. Satsuki gets tired, and a bug is about to eliminate her, but Momo rescues her and commends her for her strength. After creating the symbol, Moroha activates the spell and defeats the monster. Ando wakes up to discover that the troops won thanks to Moroha. The six heads immediately agree that Moroha should be promoted to S rank. However, his pay and allowance will still be regulated until he graduates. He will also be under 3 years of probation. Back on the island, Maya uses her healing power to take care of all the wounded strikers. Later on, we see the Russian S rank sending an assassin to eliminate Moroha. Moroha received a love letter from an unknown person. The person tells him to meet her at the back of the stadium. He gets there and realizes that the sender is a transfer student from Russia. Moroha believes the letter is a trap, but the girl says it's not. She says she is in love with Moroha and wants to go on a date with him. Moroha disagrees, and the girl becomes upset. Moroha quickly recants his decision and says they can become friends instead. The girl agrees and becomes happy. The girl arrives in class and introduces herself as Alina Arshavina. She reveals that she has no parents and was raised in a facility. Shizuno stands up and asks Alina to reveal her main objective for coming to Akane Academy. Shizuno suspects Alina of being a spy, but Alina says she is there to become Moroha's lover. This puts the whole class in shock, especially Satsuki. She protests that Alina has no right to get close to Moroha without her permission. Shizuno also joins Satsuki in questioning Alina, but they couldn't come to an agreement. The news soon spreads throughout the school that Alina is in love with Moroha. Later on, Alina waits for Moroha outside the school. She asks Moroha to go on a date with her, and Satsuki gets mad once again. Moroha accepts the offer, and Satsuki says she will be going with him. She asks Shizuno to accompany them too, but Shizuno says she has other plans. The next day, Alina comes late to where she is supposed to meet Moroha. She finally shows up, and Moroha is taken aback by her beauty. Just then, Satsuki calls Moroha on the phone, saying that she won't be able to make it to the date because she has been booked for charity work. This leaves Moroha and Alina to have the whole day to themselves. As they walk along the way, Alina holds Moroha's hand tight and drags him close to her. The duo visits a burger restaurant together. Alina enjoys her burger and says she hasn't had a nice burger like the one she's eating. She adds that saviors in Russia were not raised in schools. They're raised with military-style training that is always hard and rough. Alina sees how nice Moroha is to her. She asks if Moroha doesn't suspect her of being an assassin. Moroha then asks if Alina plans to kill him, but she says no. Moroha says he has nothing to worry about then, and the duo continues their conversation. Alina then says Moroha behaves like the UK executive she met some time ago. She was referring to Edward. Meanwhile, Shizuno gets information that Alina is a man-eater assassin sent to eliminate Moroha. Man-eater assassins are saviors who have specialized in killing other saviors. Moroha and Alina visit the cinema together and have so much fun. As the duo sits in the park, Moroha reveals that his parents are dead and his uncle and aunt have been the ones taking care of him. Later that night, a Russian agent, Contra, makes use of a raven as a means of communication with Alina. He tells Alina to complete her mission, and the Lightning Empress has promised that Alina will get to spend some time with her brother. Alina reveals that Moroha's weakness is his loved ones, and she plans to get closer to him. Shortly afterward, Alina receives a letter from Shizuno to meet her. Shizuno says she knows what Alina's motives are, but won't let her get close to Moroha. She challenges Alina to a duel. Shizuno is getting the upper hand in the fight before Alina activates her dog tag and goes hard on Shizuno. She destroys the emblem in Shizuno's staff and defeats her. Alina then spares Shizuno and makes her promise not to tell Moroha about her. Alina says she will erase Shizuno if she breaks her promise. She then cuts Shizuno's leg as a warning. Alina hears someone coming and quickly vanishes into the forest. Shizuno says man-eaters are supposed to be completely evil, but believes that Alina is not completely evil. Moroha and her friends realize that Shizuno and Alina are not present in class. Moroha goes over to Shizuno's house and sees her using a walking stick because of the injury she sustained. Shizuno then tells Moroha that Alina is a man-eater and she was sent to kill Moroha. Moroha scolds Shizuno for confronting Alina on her own without help. Moroha then says he doesn't believe that Alina is a bad person because, deep down, she has a good heart. Contra takes the form of a cat and visits Alina. He tells her to get well and finish her mission if she's to see her brother. Alina is still nursing the dark magic wound she sustained while fighting Shizuno. After Kondrat's departure, Moroha and Satsuki arrive at Elena's place. Moroha takes care of Elena's wound, while Satsuki makes a meal for them. Elena tastes the food, but it was too hot. Elena wakes during the night and sees Moroha holding her hands while sitting beside her. The following day, Satsuki makes a Russian dish that Elena enjoys. Elena then tells Moroha to take her on a date. The duo board a bus and travels to a park for their date. Shizuno receives some information, and she quickly calls Satsuki to ask about Moroha. Satsuki tells Shizuno that Moroha and Elena have gone on a date. Arriving at the park, Elena takes off her dog tag and activates it with her plana. She says she is ready to terminate Moroha with her demon sword. She has always eliminated everyone who stands against Russia. Just then, Satsuki and Shizuno show up at the entrance of the park. The duo is stopped by Sophia, one of the students, but she is from the American branch. Sophia is also a spy from the American HQ, and the American branch wants Moroha to eliminate Elena. Satsuki decides to stay behind and fight Sophia, while Shizuno goes inside the park. Moroha and Elena engage in a fierce fight, and Moroha realizes how strong Elena is. She is also capable of absorbing her opponent's plana. Elena also realizes that Moroha is not using all his strength. Moroha feels tired, but he remembers how strong he was in his past life. He gets stronger and starts avoiding Elena's attacks easily. Back at the gate, Satsuki manages to use her special skill to defeat Sophia. Sophia hugs her and says she has improved. Moroha beats Elena to the ground and tells her to pick up her sword again. Elena keeps trying, but Moroha defeats her each time. Moroha then tells Elena that he is aware her brother will die if she doesn't kill him. Moroha offers to help Elena break out her brother and defeat the Lightning Empress. Moroha says he couldn't save his parents, but he has the chance to save Elena's brother. Just then, Shizuno shows up and drops a bombshell on Elena. She says Elena doesn't have a brother. Everything she believes has been fabricated in her mind since she was little. Elena was found in front of a woman's door during stormy snow. Elena doesn't want to believe it, but soon realizes she doesn't know her brother's face or name. Out of nowhere, Kondrat shows up in cat form and tells Elena that what she heard is true. He says he is responsible for the illusion in Elena's mind. Kondrat then takes over Elena's body and starts fighting Moroha. Moroha uses a very powerful spell to purify Elena and get rid of Kondrat's grip over her. Moroha holds Elena and promises to be her family. We see the Lightning Empress eliminating Kondrat because of his failure. Moroha also calls Edward and says he wants to go to war against the Russian branch. Moroha arrives in Russia under fake disguises. He ambushes one of the Russian generals, Bernard, who is an A rank. He asks him where the Lightning Empress is, but he refuses to answer. Bernard resorts to fighting Moroha, but Moroha defeats him with his thunderstorm spell. After he is defeated, Bernard is interrogated by Moroha and Angela. Bernard refuses to answer, and Moroha gently stabs him in the stomach. Moroha and Angela then leave Bernard to suffer. The duo gets on a train to keep moving around. Angela asks if Bernard will be okay, and Moroha says Bernard is an A rank. The stab wound will do nothing to him. Moroha says he is not willing to kill anybody in the war. However, Moroha says he needs to defeat all the district leaders in an attempt to force the Lightning Empress to make a move. Angela says she is worried that all the district leaders might decide to join forces and fight Moroha, but Moroha is confident that they won't do so. Shortly afterward, Bernard goes to a building to give a report to the Lightning Empress. The Empress communicates with Bernard using a magic mirror. The Lightning Empress says Bernard has failed her and he needs to die. Bernard tries to convince the Lightning Empress that she still needs him, but the Empress doesn't care. She casts a death spell and uses it to kill Bernard and also destroy the whole building. Surprisingly, Bernard remains loyal till he takes his final breath. The Lightning Empress then gathers some of her generals and has a meeting with them. Angela and Moroha also sleep on the train during the night. Moroha wakes up and sees Angela making a phone call to an unknown person. Back at home, Satsuki and Elena fight over who is going to be Moroha's younger sister. Satsuki says Elena is free to be Moroha's big sister, but Elena refuses. Shizuno interferes and scolds the duo. She says Moroha will be sad if he comes back home to see that the two are not getting along. This pushes the duo to put their selfish interest aside and decide to be friends. Later on, Elena shows her worries about Moroha's safety, but Satsuki assures her that Moroha will win the war and come back home to them. Now in Russia, Moroha starts neutralizing all the district stations one after the other. One night, Moroha realizes that he is being followed. He tells Angela to find him a spot where they can fight. Angela tells him that there's a grove nearby, and Moroha quickly flies to the area. He gets there and tells the unknown assailants to show themselves. One of the district leaders shows up and says all the people that have surrounded Moroha are irrank. He doesn't wish for anyone to die. He asks Moroha to return to Japan in peace. However, one of the assailants says their orders are to eliminate Moroha. A fight breaks out and two of the fighters who are twins accuse Moroha of killing Bernard, but Moroha denies the allegations. Moroha defeats all the district leaders without fatally harming them. Believing he has defeated all of his assailants, Moroha relaxes. Just then, another savior shows up and turns his back to them. Moroha realizes too late that the savior is carrying a mirror behind him. The Lightning Empress uses this mirror to cast a devastating and deadly spell against Moroha. Moroha couldn't dodge the attack, and he receives the full force of the Lightning Empress's attack. Meanwhile, one of Moroha's friends is busy praying for his safety back home. Moroha wakes up and sees Angela cuddling him. He startles, and this wakes Angela. Angela tells Moroha that she used her body contact to transfer mana to Moroha in order to save his life after yesterday's attack. While the duo is talking, one of the Russian district leaders that Moroha fought enters. She says her name is Katia, and she is half Japanese and half Russian. She had one of her subordinates follow Angela after the fight, and that's how she got to know where they are staying. She recognizes the fact that Moroha has not been killing anyone since the war started. She then asks Moroha for a favor. She wants Moroha to help her best friend Yuli escape from the Lightning Empress. She explains that most saviors in Russia are orphans. This way no one will be able to complain about the treatment of the children. The Lightning Empress makes them fight each other, and then uses the survivors as her bodyguards. Moroha remembers Elena and realizes that these are one of the things she endured. Katia tells Angela and Moroha where the Lightning Empress is hiding. Moroha decides that it is time to visit the Lightning Empress. He uses a spell to put Katia to sleep because he doesn't want her to be harmed. Angela also wants to follow him, but Moroha refuses and says Edward will kill him if anything happens to her. Moroha stands in front of the Lightning Empress's estate and tells her to come out and fight him. The Empress wastes no time, and she casts a spell that transforms thunderbolts into formidable animals and cavalry. Moroha calls on his holy sword, the Saratoga. He uses his speed to cut down the enemies without getting a single hit on him. When the Lightning Empress realizes the tactics Moroha is using, she sends out her bodyguards to fight Moroha. All her bodyguards are orphans that she has trained for her selfish reasons. Moroha starts fighting the saviors, but makes sure that he doesn't harm them. The Empress says she learned that Moroha is not willing to kill anyone, and she has decided to use that against him. Moments later, Moroha gets pinned down, and he's about to be killed when Angela shows up and repels the attacks. Katia also arrives at the scene to support Moroha. To make things better, Satsuki, Shizuno, and Elena use a portal to join the fight. Katia sees Yuli and tries to tell her that they are best friends, but Yuli doesn't remember her. Elena tells the saviors that she was once like them, but she is now reborn. She cuts off the necklace around Yuli's neck, and she immediately regains her memories and emotions. The group then helps the rest of the saviors to get rid of their necklaces. The necklaces have been the object of illusion that the Empress has been using to control them. The Empress realizes that she has lost all of her soldiers. She resorts to using a level 13 dark art spell that is forbidden because nothing in the area will survive. She creates a lightning titan to attack Moroha and his friends. The group throws all their attacks at the titan, but nothing works. Moroha then decides to use his own level 13 dark art spell also. He creates a spell that brings forth a large volume of water and covers the whole area. He uses the water's strength to hold and defeat the Titan. The Empress sees this and realizes that she has been defeated. Moroha approaches her, and she starts to beg for her life. Moroha fulfills his promise of not killing anyone and leaves the Empress alive. He leaves her with a warning that she shouldn't take from others if she doesn't want to be taken from. Principal Shimon informs Maya that Moroha will soon be on his way back home, and this makes her very happy because she has been lonely. She says she can't wait to see Moroha again. In Russia, Moroha and his friends decide to visit a sauna to relax and release stress. Satsuki and Elena start having an argument about who is the real little sister. This escalates, and the duo decides to challenge each other. They go beside the burning coal and begin to increase the heat. Whoever stays longer in the heat will have the right to be Moroha's younger sister. They continue this for minutes, and the sauna gets so hot that Angela, Yuli, and Katia need to run outside. Moroha and Shizuno stay to watch everything unfold. They contest in an arm wrestling game, and Satsuki manages to defeat Elena, but as she does so, the duo faints from exhaustion. Shizuno uses her freezing spell to keep them alive. They wake up to discover that they have come down with a cold. The duo screams and blames their misfortune on Shizuno. Angela also scolds Moroha for using a spell that has now turned a whole town into a sea. Later on, Moroha tells Shizuno that he remembered a dragon from his past life, who always comes to take away everything he loves. Shizuno says it might not be a memory, but an event that is about to happen. At the White Knight Agency in Japan, Ando comes down with pain that he feels whenever a metaphysical is about to attack. Now in Russia, Moroha is about to leave with his friends when he gets summoned that a monster is attacking a city. He has to leave and fight the monster because he was the one that defeated their S rank, and they're now left with no one to challenge the metaphysical. Moroha's friends go back home, and Maya becomes more sad when she realizes that Moroha is not coming home yet. Maya sits down lonely, and her mood is down. Meanwhile, Moroha has defeated the metaphysical, but Ando hasn't recovered from his pain. Later that night, the girls come to visit Maya and stay with her so that she won't be lonely. The group has fun together and even engages in a pillow fight before sleeping. Satsuki, Maya, and Shizuno pray for Moroha's safe return. At the agency, Ando holds Edward and tells him that a very powerful metaphysical is coming. He says it is the ancient dragon. Soon afterward, the sky becomes dark and the dragon emerges from the darkness. Akane Academy evacuates students that are not on the strike force team. The strikers immediately mobilize to find a way of neutralizing the target. Jean informs the team that the metaphysical has not been classified into any class because it's more powerful than anything they have seen before. Angela also joins the fight while Principal Shimon and Maya evacuate the area so they can create a portal to bring Moroha back home. Edward is also on his way to assist. The team makes a plan and hides in the bushes, but the dragon figures it out and attacks them ferociously. They use their spell to attack it, but it defends it and copies the spell. The dragon then makes use of their own spell against them. Back in Russia, Moroha is now aware of the attack. He says the dragon always appears in all his past lives to take away everything he loves. He calls it the Black Shadow, and Moroha shows his fear and frustration. The dragon keeps ravaging the whole town. Satsuki and Shizuno say the dragon has the power to level the whole area within seconds, but it's not doing it. Shizuno suspects that the dragon is waiting for something. Shimon's ability to cast the portal comes back, and she starts casting the portal spell. The dragon launches an attack on Maya, but Shimon gets in the way and gets knocked down. She tells Maya to complete the spell and bring Moroha back home. Maya continues from where Shimon left off and is about to finish the spell when the dragon spots her. The dragon attacks her, but Edward arrives just in time and repels the attack. Maya continues with the spell. The portal opens, and Moroha returns with Yuli and Katia. Moroha tells the rest of the team to retreat and leave the dragon with him. He reveals that the dragon has always taken everything from him. Moroha launches a spell against the dragon, but soon discovers that the dragon is able to dispel his attacks. Moroha decides to fight the dragon without magic. He resorts to using his plana only. The dragon starts using all the attacks from all the metaphysicals Moroha has defeated in the past. He creates a sonic blast so powerful that it breaks the tip of Moroha's sword. Suddenly, the dragon makes its way to where Shizuno and Satsuki are standing. It attacks them with the stone curse, and Moroha is able to do nothing but watch as his two beloved become blocks of rock. Moroha cries so hard that he is not able to protect them once again. He lets out a howling sound and transforms into a crazy warrior by activating the Box of Despair. He picks up his sword and it grows back. He attacks the dragon without fear and starts creating magic runes all over its body. Angela screams and tells him to stop because if he activates the runes, the effect will defeat the dragon and also wipe out the entire city. However, the Moroha they know is gone. All that is left is a murderous beast. In the spirit world, Shizuno and Satsuki both get the motivation and strength to return to life from their past selves. The duo returns and the rocks around them shatter into pieces. Moroha is about to activate the rune when Shizuno and Satsuki hold his hands. He stops, and they make him remember how powerful he was in his past lives. Moroha then embodies his 2 past lives into his present body. He becomes a 3-in-1 and starts fighting off the dragon a lot better. Kami also uses his healing power to heal the strikers, and they all stand up to support Moroha. Everyone gets on the attack, and backup from Russia also arrives. Moroha casts a powerful spell, and with the help of Shizuno and Satsuki, he cuts down the dragon. Up next, Edward in Japan prepares to go back to the UK. Edward warns Moroha about the France rank. He says Moroha should not trust him. Satsuki, Shizuno, and Moroha all enjoy each other's company. They return to the school and see that the dragon did a lot of damage to it. However, Principal Shimon says they can rebuild the school as long as no student life was lost. The strikers arrange a welcome back party for Moroha. They all have fun as Maya narrates how happy everybody is feeling to have Moroha back with them.